salawat. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulullah. Sallallahu alayka ya ahli baytika al-madlumin. Ya Garib, ya Shaheed, ya Madlum Karbala, ya Aba Abdullah, ya laytana kunna ma'akum. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. May His peace and blessings be upon the Holy Messenger, His Holy Ahlul Bayt, and Imam Sahib Asr Zaman, Ajal Ta'ala, Farashaham. Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum jami'an, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On the night of Ashura, brothers and sisters, Imam Hassan alayhi salam gathered his companions, and he told them, tomorrow, you're all going to be killed and slaughtered. This will be your last night in this life. He warned them all, each and every single one of them. And he tells them, if you want to leave, go ahead. I'm going to turn off the lights and you can leave. He tells every single one of them, do not worry. Nothing will change between us. Just you can leave if you want. And I'll make it less embarrassing if you want to walk away. So if you feel that way, don't worry. No one's going to see you leave. As he's telling them this, he's giving them a chance to leave. He told them, you're going to be martyred. You're going to be slaughtered. But you have a chance to leave right now. Don't worry. I'm still going to love you. You're still my Shia. One of them gets up and says, Ya Hussein, if you cut my body into 1,000 pieces, 1,000 pieces, and then after that burn my body, and then bring me back to life and do it 1,000 times, I would still never leave you, Hussein. This is the conviction that the companions of Muhammad had. He was begging them to leave. He was asking them, please leave. Yet they would never leave him alone. This is what it means to be connected to the Imam of your Imam. Now I ask us today, how many of us today have that same connection with the Imam today? At that time, there were hundreds of thousands of Muslims, only 72 showed up. Today, there's 300 million Shias. But how many of us truly have that connection with our Imam today? You know, we recite in Dua Nutba, today's Friday, and one of the best duas to recite on Friday is Dua Nutba. And I hope everyone, if you haven't recited yet today, after you leave today, please recite this dua. It's the best dua to build a connection with your Imam. And in this dua we say these beautiful lines. You know, for example, we say, we'll sacrifice our parents for you. Be'abi wa anta wa ummi. You know, for you, my father and my mother. Now remember, these du'as are something we're supposed to be reciting and truly supposed to be meaning these du'as. These are the du'as given to us by our imams. Now when you recite these words, can you really see these words, or is it just something you're reciting? We have to learn how to live these du'as in our lives today. Get to that level of yaqeen that we can do this for our imam. The next line we recite is that Azizan alayya an ara al-khalqi wa la tara. It is hard for me that I can see everything but you. Now ask yourself, is that really true? Is it really hard for you to see everything in your life today except the Imam? Remember, these du'as are given to us by our Imams. We're here commemorating the martyrdom of our Imam, but these du'as are also given to us by our Imams. We literally recite this du'a, and we're supposed to recite every single Friday. It's hard for our eyes to see everything but you. But I don't think that's true for everyone. And if it's not, we have to make sure we live in such a way that it becomes true. Because I see everything else. We fill our eyes with everything else. And sometimes things we shouldn't even fill our eyes with. And how do we expect to see the beauty of our imams with these eyes that we don't even wait for them to see? And the last line we recite is, بِنَفْسِ أَنْتَ أُمْنِيَةُ شَارِكَ يَتَمَنَّى. May my soul be sacrificed for you are the wish of an eager. You are the wish of an eager person. Are we truly this person that's reciting this dua? Are we truly eager for the Imam? The biggest misconception in our community today is that we are the ones waiting for the Imam. The biggest number one misconception. Not realizing that the reason the Imam hasn't come back yet is because of us and our own deeds. He's waiting for us to be ready. Now, what do I mean by this? For us, and I mentioned many times before, we call out Labbaik ya Hussein, Labbaik ya Mahdi, Adrikni, Adrikni. But those same people called this out in Kufa when they left the Muslim Nakir alone, Betum Qarib. The same people called it out when they left Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Kufa, Ashura Qarib. Let us not be one of those people. The topic of today, as many people have heard of, the number 313. People always hear about this number. What is it? Who are these people that the Imam is waiting for? Now, the first thing I'll begin is that the significance of the number of 313. So the Imam is waiting for 313 people, according to our narrations, for him to come back. These same number of people are the same number of people in the Battle of Badr, the first battle of Islam. 313 people fought alongside the Prophet in the first battle of Islam, and they fought against 950 people. Now you want to see the beauty of Allah and how He puts everything so beautifully together. Go to the Quran, Surah 3, verse 13. 3:13. This is also the verse that was revealed in Badr. And it says that there's a sign for you in two groups who confronted each other. One was fighting in the way of Allah, and the other disbelieving. And they were twice their number. And Allah gives His strength to whoever He wishes, and there's a lesson for those who have eyes. What happened in the Battle of Badr? The Muslims won. 313 against 950. The Muslims won. This verse is an indication, the Imams have told us that this verse indicates the first battle and the last battle of the 313. And this is how beautifully Allah places it in the Quran. Now, who are these 313 people? And are there only 313? These are the questions a lot of people have. The 313 is the commanders of the army, the first ranks with the Imam. Our hadiths tell us the day he comes back, 313 people, wherever they are in the world, they will appear with the Imam. He'll be waiting for them to be ready. Now, are these 313 people only men, or are there women? The hadiths tell us that out of 313 people, some say 50 will be women, and some hadiths say 13 will be women. Now, people ask, and a lot of sisters ask this question often, why would the Imam need women inside his army? And I tell the sisters, do you refer back to Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, who was the first defender of the Wilayat Imam Ali alayhi salam? Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. After her father left this world, Rasulullah, her heart was broken, she was grieving. She showed up within days to the courts of the Shaykheen who had taken away Fadak, to fight for Fadak. Now people say she was fighting for property or land. Would Sayyidah Fatima Zahra fight for property or land? Never. The reason she showed up to Fadak was to prove that the Prophet left inheritance. Why? Because if she can prove that the Prophet left inheritance, it will show that he left instructions, and hence he left an inheritor. This is why she showed up at Fadak. She didn't care for the land. It was the principle that the Prophet left behind instructions. The Prophet left behind things. He did not leave this world alone. This is why she showed up at Fadak. So she was the first defender of the Wilayat. Then we have Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, the one who's responsible, the reason we have Islam today and it's been saved after the sacrifice of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, was Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. Because of her revolution. And inshallah we'll discuss this on the day of Shah Magriba, but as for sisters who asked this question, the women have been the forefront of the armies as well, of the Shias. Now, are there only 313 people or are there more? There's 313 people that the Imam is waiting for. Because those 313 will be the leaders. They'll be the ones who will be in command. They'll be his right-hand men and women. But the hadiths tell us that there will also be other companions, about 10,000 or so. The hadiths differ in numbers. But there will be more companions. But they will not be at the top of the top. And in our lives, we want to be the top of the top. We don't want to be the rest of the numbers. We want to be those people who are the one the Imam is waiting for. Now, can anyone become these 313? That's the next question people ask me. Or is it reserved or only special people? Every single one of us has the chance to become these companions of the Imam. No matter what you have done in your life, some people will say that we have been too sinful, we lived lives of sin, we have made mistakes. How can we ever become companions of the Imam? I refer you back to Hassan. And one night he changed his entire destiny. Just like that, all of us have the chance to change our entire destinies one night. In these 10 nights of Muharram, in this entire month of Muharram, in the mourning period that we have, you can change your entire lives. No one is too sinful before Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And in fact, Allah's mercy is limitless for everyone. A lot of people think they can't come to the mosque these days because they have committed sins, or we'll never become those companions of the Imam. We have this misconception. This is Shaitan's biggest, number one trick for everyone in the world, to take you away from the rahmah of Allah. You know, Allah says in the Quran, كَتَبَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَى نَفْسِ الرَّحْمَةِ. Allah has made mercy incumbent upon Himself. The only attribute of Allah that He made incumbent upon Himself in the Quran is His rahmah. Every prayer we recite, we start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. His mercy is every single prayer. In fact, there's a whole surah called Ar-Rahman about Allah's mercy. Now, there's a verse in the Quran for people who say that we're too sinful and we can never do these things, or come to the mosque, or pray, or become the companions of Muhammad Islam. Allah says in Surah 39, verse 53, "For those who have transgressed against the limits of your souls, do not despair. La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Do not despair of the mercy of Allah. For you'll find Allah the most forgiving and the most merciful." Whatever you have done in your life, turn to Allah. You can change right now, this moment. After this majlis, you can change your entire life. Right now, if you wish to. Never think this. But there's one more verse which gives everyone the most hope. And it's the most hopeful verse in the Quran. And it's not the verse I recited to you before. It's in Surah 93, verse 5. When Allah says, وَلَا سَوْفَ يُتِيكَ رَبِّكَ فَتَرْضَى. And your Lord will give you till you're satisfied. Now you ask me, why is this the most hopeful verse? Allah is speaking to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allah is speaking to Rasulullah and He's telling him that I will give you till you're satisfied. Allah asks Rasulullah, what do you want in return? He says, I want to be there for my ummah on Yawm al-Qiyamah and be shafa' for them. Maqam Mahmud, He'll give shafa' for everyone. And Allah says to him, I will give you till you're satisfied. So the reason you're here today, one of the reasons, remember this, that you're here to mourn the marching of his grandson, Rasulullah. He's the one who's controlling the shafa' on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And the highest maqam is Maqam Mahmud. And Allah will give him till He's pleased. He used to cry for the ummah. In fact, before, He used to say to the angels, make my death the easiest death ever. So you make my death the hardest death ever. So you take away the pain from the deaths of my believers, of my ummah. And look what they did to his grandson. But remember this is the most hopeful verse. When you love Imam Hussein alayhi salam, remember who's the one. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself will be the one himself on Yawm al-Qiyamah. When Maqam al-Mahmud, and Allah will give him as He pleases. No limits whatsoever. You're guaranteed Jannah that way. With the love of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. If you follow him, love him, follow his principles. Now, and I have one last hadith actually. Imam Zafar Sadiq alayhi salam, salawat, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says that Allah tells the angels when one of His loved ones commits sins. He says this. By His loved ones, He means every single one of us, because Allah loves every single one of us. He says that when they commit a sin, do not write it down right away. Wait till the end of the day. Maybe he'll ask for forgiveness. Maybe he'll do something which will take it away. This is how much your Lord loves you. This is how much Allah loves every single one of us. He gives us chances. He doesn't want to punish us. Do not put him as the way someone who punishes us. People often portray fear in people. Fear of God, it's good, yes. But that's not what we love Allah. We love Allah because He loves us. And we understand that love. If He wanted to punish you, why would He give you these chances in this life? And the reason I mention this is because every single one of us has a chance to become the best of companions of the Imam today. No matter what you have done. When Allah was making the human beings, the angels told Allah, why are you making beings which cause destruction and bloodshed on earth? Allah says to them, you do not know what I know. Allah knew the potential of us human beings to become one of the greatest beings, even higher than angels. We all have this inside of us. Do not ever think you're less than that. You have the greatest potential inside of you. Inside you, Imam Ali has said what? Alam al-Akbar. The greater universe is inside all of you. And these nights, we have to unlock all of that, to change ourselves, to become better people, to become these 313 that the Imam is waiting for. Now, I wanted to mention all this before I go into the details of 313, so for us to know that when I read these companion stories, when I read these qualities, you may think these are really far ahead from you, but all of us can achieve these. Understand this. Now, the qualities, you may ask, if Imam is only waiting for 313 people, Arbaeen had $40 million a year, 20 million last year. There's so many Shias in the world, 300 million today. How can he not find 313 people? When you go to the houses, there's more than 313 sheikhs in the world, In fact, there's probably a couple hundred Maraja itself. So, how can he not find 313 people? He's not looking for just any companions. We all say we're all the servants of Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But he's looking for companions with the qualities that will be there and those who will sacrifice their lives for the Imam, if need be. We have a story, and one of the best stories to describe what the Imam is looking for is the time of Imam Ja'far alayhi salam. A man came to him, his name was, he came from a land in Iran, Al-Isfahani. And he came to the Imam, and he says to him, I have brought an army of 10,000. He's talking to Imam Ja'far alayhi salam. He says, I have brought an army of 10,000. Why don't you rise against the Caliphs at that time? Because during his time, the Umayyads were at downfall, the Abbasids were rising, so there was turmoil, and people had a chance to get the Caliph if they wanted to. So he brought an army of 10,000 people. And he told the Imam, let's do it. We're going to rise up, we're going to take care of everyone. So the Imam's he's telling the Imam this. The Imam says to him, the man's name was Sahil al-Khurasani. So he says, al-Khurasani, you see that oven over there? Go sit inside that oven. And Sahil was like, please Imam, don't punish me like this. What are you saying? You're going to kill me? He himself did not realize the position of the Imam. At that moment, he questioned the Imam's words. He did not realize what the Imam is saying. First of all, the Imam orders are the orders of Allah. Whatever you say, don't question the Imam. So as he's having this conversation, he's saying, oh Imam, I'm not going to do that. Another person walks inside, a companion, Harun al-Makki. Harun al-Makki walks inside. The Imam says, go sit that oven. Harun doesn't ask a question, walks straight to the oven, sits inside it. It's a hot furnace. You've seen those, for those people who knows how to make those tandoors, those hot oven surfaces. He sits inside that oven, and now Sahil al-Khurasani is scared. He's like, what just happened? Just kill the man in front of you. So the Imam just doesn't say anything, just keeps continuing his conversation. And then after a while he says, come Sahil, let's walk to the oven. He walks over to the oven, opens it, he sees Harun al-Makki just sitting cross-legged, nothing's happened to him. Fire's burning, everything's burning, nothing's happened to him. He says to him, oh Sahil, do you even have one person like this in your army? He says, no. He says, then your army is worthless to me. You have 10,000 people, but not one can obey the Imam like this person? You doubt the Imam? The Imams don't speak for themselves, they speak from Allah. You doubt the Imam? If you had even one person like this inside your army, yes, we could have rose, but no, we cannot rise up now. So these are the 313 people that the Imam is looking for. Now ask yourselves today, how many of us can go sit inside that hot oven? Ponder upon it for a second. Until you're ready to go sit inside that hot oven, we have to stay where it's trying to become Shia. Because the day you can do that, you can call yourself a Shia. Now, that's the first quality. Certainty in the Imam. And there's a whole list of qualities I'm going to go down today of what the Imam is looking for. Number 2 is Aqidah. Having Aqidah, belief in Tawheed, in the justice of Allah, and the will of Allah. These days, we're losing a lot of people to atheism. What is that? Why is that? Because a lot of people doubt the justice of Allah. They think that just because something goes wrong in their life, that there's no God there. How can God cause this for you? Not realizing for every single pain you feel in this life, Allah has rewarded you with mountains of rewarded Jannah. Everything that happens for you, there's good reason behind it. Allah knows what's best for each one of us. Always remember this. You know, who's your creator? When you go buy a package and you look at it, it comes with a set of instructions, right? If you use it a certain way, for example, if I bought a remote, it tells you use these type of batteries. If you don't use these type of batteries, it may not last you this long. Why? Because the person who made the remote knows how the remote works, everything's best for the remote. Same with Allah is our creator. He's our manufacturer. The Quran is our instruction manual. The instructions from the Imams are our instruction manual. Allah knows what's best for us in every single situation. Do not ever doubt what Allah has planned for you in your life. He knows what you can handle. He knows what's best for you. So always have firm aqidah in Allah. 100% faith. This is one of the most important qualities of the characters of the Imams. And this is why a lot of people have become atheists, because they believe that, oh, Allah isn't just. And inshallah, I have a whole lecture for this planned in the next couple of days. But for now, I just want to leave it at this point. That you don't realize that Allah is the one who created you and how much He loves you. And He'll always take care of you. He's al-Wakil. What does Wakil mean? The one who represents you. In every aspect of your life, He's representing you. He's looking out for the best of you. Always remember this. Now, one of the next beliefs that we have versus certainty in Imam, Aqidah. They believe in the Quran. They have firm belief in the 12 Imams and their wilayat. No doubt in the existence of reality. And they'll give up their lives for the Imams. I'll give you a story of Maital al-Tamar. For those who know the story of Maital al-Tamar, he was a slave that the Imam alayhi salam had freed. One of the best companions, one of the 4 greatest companions Imam alayhi salam had. You know, Imam alayhi salam told him one day that, Maital, one day you're going to be killed. And you're going to be killed singing my praises. But I give you permission that day to not sing my praises. Your tongue is going to be cut, and you're going to be hung from this tree. And he showed him the tree. And this story is very important. It's a painting of this story, because we all have to become like Maital al-Tamar. So he tells them, Oh Mawla, are they going to torture me? He says, just once. He says, Wallah, if they torture me 70,000 times, I will never stop singing your praises, Ya Allah. 70,000 times. Do not everything I'll ever stop singing your praises. And now Imam Ali actually showed him the tree which he's going to be martyred from. You know what he used to do? Every single day he would go water that tree and make sure that tree lived. And nothing happened to that tree. Make sure that tree was never destroyed. He knew he was going to die from this one tree. He made sure he maintained this tree. He would go to every single day. How many of us can truly do this? Many of us would go, the first thing we would do is just bulldoze that down a tree, be like, I'm not going to die from this tree. But think about it, how many of us can truly do this? So Maitam, he was eventually caught by Ibn Ziyad, and because he was singing the praise of Muhammad Islam, he was one of the best companions, Ibn Ziyad actually caught him one day. And he told them that, I'm going to kill you now. He says, yes, I know. Imam Ali Islam has told me that you're going to kill me. He told me you're going to kill me from this tree in 3 days after you catch me, and you're going to cut off my tongue. Ibn Ziyad was like, you know what? I'm going to prove that your mullah is a liar. I'm going to hang you from this tree, but I'm not going to cut off your tongue to prove that your mullah is a liar. They hung him from the tree, they cut off one of his hands, one of his legs. They left him to bleed for 3 days. But what happened? Every single day, what he would do is sing the praises of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Say the hadiths of the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said about Imam Ali alayhi salam. That Ali is with the haqq. He would say all the hadiths possible that he could ever say, that everything good that Rasulullah said. And what was happening? Everyone was turning against the people, like, what's going on? Imam Ali alayhi salam is a great person, what are you guys doing to this person? He was reminding everyone of the hadiths. He had been given a member. For him it was a member. Hanging from the tree, dying. But he was singing the praises for 3 days. So Ibn Ziyad's like, and his companions like, we can't let him leave. We have to cut off his tongue. They went and cut off his tongue. And he says, didn't I tell you my Mawla is not a liar? They had to cut off his tongue because his tongue didn't stop singing the praises. And the people were turning against Ibn Ziyad. Because they had brainwashed the people to believe that Imam Ali doesn't pray. You know when Imam Ali was martyred, they asked, did he even pray? This is how much he had brainwashed the people. So when he had this chance, he sung the praises, and the people were getting confused. Like, what? This is Imam Ali, this is what Rasulullah had said? Because they knew Maitam was one of the greatest companions. And everyone trusted Maitam at that time. So they had to cut off his tongue. But how many of us can truly become like Maitam? You know, the reason I mentioned the companions is because, you know, what we say, people say, you can never become like the Imams, they're the Imams themselves. Okay, I understand. But these companions, they're the companions. They're not Masumeen. They're humans like me and you. Like I told you before, Allah says we have the greatest potential. Imam Ali says you have Alam Akbar inside you, the greater universe. Each one of us has a chance to reach this potential. This is why I talk about the companions. Now, one of the next things that we have is that people have taqwa. And I have a whole lecture for taqwa later, but I'm going to go into a little bit details now. Imam Ali he has a whole khutbah on this, khutbah al-Muttaqeen. And he says that those people who have taqwa, are God-fearing, they walk amongst this life as that they see Jahannam in front of them. Hell is always in front of them. They always know that this is if they go wrong, this is what's going to happen to them. These are one of the qualities that you need to have in your life, always. The next quality, they say they'll buzz like honeybees in their prayers. What does that mean? They'll pray, they'll recite dhikr of Allah all day. One of the best ways to cleanse your heart and purify your soul is to recite the dhikr of Allah all day. Tasbih al-Zahra, the dhikr of Allah, all day recite these surahs. And be of those who pray. You know how important prayer is, brothers and sisters? When Imam Ali once was telling the companions the story of the signs of the end of times, he would tell them all these drastic things that are going to happen. This will be destroyed, these wars. And they're sitting down listening. And he tells them prayer will be neglected. And once he said prayers, they get up and how could prayer be neglected? This is how important prayer was to them. You know Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Before he was martyred and left this world, one of his last wills was this. Tell the Shia, my shifa is not for those who neglect prayer. He did not say not for those who didn't do prayer. Those who neglect prayer, do not pray on time. They treat it as lightly. Inshallah, I'll pray later. Inshallah, I'll pray later. You know, I have time. He says his shifa is not for those people. And his shifa means the shifa of all the imams is not for those people. We often treat prayer, we take it lightly. Realize this, brothers and sisters. One of the best ways to improve your life is prayer. You know, Allah calls out to you 5 times a day. He's calling you for a meeting with Him. The one is in control of everything that you do in your life, every single one of your affairs, is Allah. He calls you for a meeting with Him. How do we go to this meeting? Usually it's last minute, let's just go pray real quick. We can go out somewhere, I have to go with my friends, I have to do this. We don't go prepared, we rush. This is a meeting with Allah, your Creator. You know, everything that you're leaving for, you're rushing for, who's in control of this? Allah. What you're going to rush prayer for, whose hands is it in? Allah's hands. You're rushing it to go to this party, you're rushing it to go to this friend's house, you're rushing it to go to this place. Who controls all your affairs? Allah. How can you leave Him to rush Him to go to somewhere else? That's in His control in the first place. Nothing that you can leave Allah for is worth it because He controls everything, brothers and sisters. It's a meeting with Allah. Treat it your best. Go there, sit down before prayer. Wait for your Lord. Do not make Him wait for you, brothers and sisters. Sit there early, recite, do your nawafil, do other prayers. Be of the best companions to become the ones who sacrificed their lives in Karbala. They loved Allah. Like I told you the first day, one of the companions, they were joking the night before. Why? Because they said, what's wrong? Tomorrow, it's only one night between me and Allah. They loved Allah that much. They were eager to meet Him. So we have to become like those companions, brothers and sisters. And the next trait that we have is that their hearts are pure. And I'll tell you a quick story. One time, the Prophet was sitting inside the masjid, and a man walks inside. He says, that's the man of Jannah. So one of the companions go like, why is this the man of Jannah? He didn't tell them at that time. So one of the companions, he wanted to follow this man. He goes to his house. He says, can I stay with you for 3 days? I just want to see what you do. What's different about you? Why are you a man of Jannah? So he goes live with this companion for 3 days. The first day he wakes up, goes out, works, come back, doesn't do anything special. Same day, the next day. He's eagerly waiting. He's like, what does this man do? Does he like pray Salat al all night? Is there something special about him? I don't know what he does. Does he read the Quran all night? Nothing. He just goes to sleep, prays his prayers. So third day the man asks, he's like, okay, come on man, just tell me, what is so special about you? Why are you going to heaven? Do you do anything different? I haven't seen you do anything other than normal stuff. So the man says to him, every single night before I go to sleep, I cleanse my heart of hatred for anyone. I purify our hearts. I make sure that the home of Allah is clear. Because our hearts are the home of Allah, brothers and sisters. We cannot have a hatred for anyone inside our hearts. Especially our brothers and sisters. Especially our Shia, or our families, or anyone. Do never go to sleep every single night with hatred inside your hearts. This is the home of Allah. Leave it pure. Only pure things can be inside the home of Allah, brothers and sisters. If you love anyone, it's for the sake of Allah. Always remember this. Your heart's only attached to Allah. So these are one of the qualities that he had. And the last quality is that they are all selfless. It's not the last quality, but the last quality for today is that they're all selfless. One of the companions, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Muhammad ibn Bashir al-Hadrami, he received news the night before of Ashura that one of his sons has been kidnapped in Nurayq. There was a battle going on, and they had kidnapped his son and held him for ransom. So they asked him for money. Of course, he has to go and free his son. He tells Imam Hussein alayhi salam the story. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, what are you doing here? Go leave. Right away. What are you doing here? Imam Hussein alayhi salam was the one asking for companions to come. But once he heard this, he says, leave right away. Don't even think about it. Go save your son. Selflessness. How many of us are selfless in this life? Do we even care about our own opinions, or we care about others? In our relationships with people, and whatever it is in society, do we care about others' feelings, brothers and sisters? Do we care about others, put them before ourselves? Sayyidina Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. She used to say that if your neighbor goes to sleep hungry, you as a Muslim have failed. Care about others before you care about yourself. These are the traditions that we have in Ahlul Bayt. And these are one of the qualities of the companions of the Imam Zaman. Now, inshallah, because we don't have much time, I'll go into the qualities later on. Each day I have planned taqwa, tawakkul. Each day, the next couple of days, is going to be all the qualities, one day each for each quality. But today I want to talk about companionship and friendship, and because today's the day of the Ansar. And before I go into the musibah, I just want to talk about friendship in general. Brothers and sisters, our friends can change our destinies. They can either make us the companions of the Imam or make us the enemies of the Imam. Especially for the youth these days. They can influence your lives in a good way or a bad way. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, salawatullah wa sallam, he said that the loneliest person is the one who has a bad friend. Why? Because you'll live your life, enjoying your life right now with your best friend. He'll make you do bad things. And at the end, you're going to regret it. You'll feel lonely from the world and from Allah. I wish I hadn't done this. I wish I hadn't done this. So always be mindful of the friends you keep. Your friends can either raise your spirituality or make you one who goes towards shaitan. Especially for the youth these days. Be careful of the people you keep around you. Remember this, always. Look at the companions the Imams kept around. They represented them. All the companions that tell you stories represent the person they're friends of. So remember, you represent the friends you're friends of. So make sure the ones who are representing you are the best of people, always. And do not get lost, because you'll end up with the loneliest people in the end of your life if you go astray because of your friends. Keep friends that have the heart, love, and wilayat Imam Ali Islam inside your hearts. Keep friends that keep you on the right path. Keep friends that will keep you on the path of Imam Sahib Zaman Ajmal Ta'ala. Refreshahum. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now before we remember the companions of Imam Hussain Islam, let's all recite together. As-salamu. Everyone please, louder. Come on, let's send your salams to the Imams today. Everyone together. As-salamu ala al-Hussain wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain wa ala awlad al-Hussain wa ala ashab al-Hussain. One of the greatest companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam was Habib ibn Mudar. And we all wish we could have a friend like Habib ibn Mudar, brothers and sisters. He was the pillar and backbone of the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The pillar and the backbone of Ansar al-Hussain alayhi salam. He was a companion from the prophets to the Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. You know, he moved along with Imam alayhi salam to Kufa. When he moved his government to Kufa, Habib followed him there. He was the best of companions. During the time of Karbala, he was a very old man, some say in his 70s. He was a very, very old man. You know, when Muslim al-Aqil alayhi salam, he was martyred in Karbala, Habib was heartbroken. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what the whereabouts was saying. He didn't know where he was, because at the time they had cut off Kufa. No one could come in, leave without them. So Habib was not able to be there for Imam Hussain in the initial time. You know, we have a hadith that says that Habib, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw Habib as a childhood, during his childhood, he says to the companion, "Bring this child to me." And he says that, "Why do you want to bring this child?" He says, "You don't see what I saw. When Imam Hussain alayhi salam is walking, Habib was taking the dust from his feet and rubbing inside his head. He was the Habib of Hussain since his childhood. He was the Habib of Hussain." Now, when it started getting closer to the battle, Yazid's army would be increasing slowly. There would be more soldiers and more soldiers. And each time the soldiers would come, as a proud of arrogance and show, they would bring their soldiers and their horses close to the army of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And as you can see, the sound of thousands of people scared the kids. All the daughters of Imam Hussain alayhi salam would start crying every single time they heard the horses come towards them. They were scaring them. They would ride their horses towards the camps and bring them back, to scare them each single time. The little girls were so scared of these sights. And as this was happening and the army was increasing, Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, she says to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, "Do you not have anyone else who can come for you today? Is there anyone else?" She asked, "Are there any other companions?" He said, "I asked everyone to join me. I wrote letters to everyone. I called out to everyone, but they all betrayed me today." He says, "The truth only has a few friends." She says, "Isn't there Habib?" He says, "Yes, there's Habib. Let me write a letter to Habib." He writes a letter to Habib ibn Mudar alayhi salam. He writes in a letter, and this letter is a very sad letter. He writes, "Min al-Gharib ila al-Habib." What does that mean? From the lonely to Habib. This is the letter he wrote to him, Habib ibn Mudar. The letter from a lonely stranger to a loved one. "Oh Habib, he is alone. Imam Hussain alayhi salam is alone, oh Habib. He writes a letter to you today." He says, "We've been surrounded. Allah Jal, we've been surrounded, ya Habib." Once Habib got this letter, he put it in his eyes, he kissed it. He said, "I've finally been called for Hussein." He was waiting for this chance to be sacrificed. And they told his slave, "Go take our horses and we'll sneak out of the city." Now the slave was waiting for him at the end, outskirts of the city. And Habib, he was a little delayed. So the slave says to the horse, "Oh horse, if Habib doesn't make it, I'm going to take you and leave, because the children of Zahra alayhi salam are alone. The daughters of Zahra alayhi salam are alone. They're all crying out for us. I will take you no matter what." Habib finally gets there. He says to the slave, slave, you can be free today. He says, I've been in your service his whole life, and now you freed me? I'll be there. I can never leave the children of Zahra alone today. Take me there. And it said that Habib rode out to Karbala. And Habib rode out to Karbala, and it says that when the army was alone, an old man came to help Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is the army that was coming to help them. Well, the world had left them alone, brothers and sisters. These are the people that are coming. When Habib came, he says one thing. O Ashab, we will be the first one to be marching on Karbala. Do not let any of the Bani Hashim go before us. This is the love that Habib alayhi salam had. And when he lands there, Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam comes and sends a salam. And Habib starts crying. He said, what days have come that the daughter of Ali ibn Abu Talib has to send salam to people like me? What days have come to the family of Rasulullah? What days have come? The daughter is the one sending salams to us. How hard has this time become, brothers and sisters? And as Habib goes out in the army, he says he fights left and right. They finally kill him with a spear. And he's one of the first to have his head chopped off. Habib, the old man, his beard used to touch the floor. That's how he used to walk. He was slaughtered, one of the first ones slaughtered. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam used to cry out. He says, Aina al-Habib, where is Habib? Why have you left me alone? I've become Gharib once again. And Habib, he used to cry, oh Hussein, you have become Gharib without me. I'm sorry, I cannot give you more than my life. Let's all send our salams to Habib ibn Wadar. But today, before I finish, I want to send the story of one more companion. Wahab ibn Qalbi, he was a Christian. He changed into Muslim and became a Shia of the companion of Islam. The day he was of Ashura, when they called him, his mother said to him, if you do not go outside, how can I show my face to Sayyidah Zahra? How can I show my face to Sayyidah Zahra when her children are being slaughtered and my son's alive? Make sure you go. But Wahab had just gotten married. His wife was telling him, please do not go, please do not go. We just got married, but Wahab left no matter what. He knew the love of Muhammad was greater than everything in this life. He fears them, farewell. He leaves the battlefield. And once he's on the battlefield, he's fighting bravely left and right. And he hears a call from behind him. Ya Wahab, qatil duna ta'ibi. Oh Wahab, continue fighting, continue fighting. And he turns around and sees it's his wife. He says, oh wife, what happened to you? Why did you change your mind? I thought you did not want me to fight. She says, yes, until I stepped outside and I saw a Gharib man, the Gharib of Karbala, Muhammad Islam yelling out, Hal min nasrin. He was yelling out, oh, is there anyone to help me? And then I heard the cries of the daughters of Muhammad Islam, Alatash, Alatash. She said, how can I leave you and bring you back here alone and not let you be sacrificed, Muhammad Islam, when these daughters are crying like this, when Muhammad Islam is crying like this? He says, go die in the way of Allah. And he was sacrificed. And he was martyred. And they say they take his head and they cut off his head and send it back to his mom. The mom of Wahab says that she kissed his head and sent it right back. She says, what we give in the name of Ahmed, we never take back. In Allah, wa in Allah, Raji'un, brothers and sisters. Let's recite Sta'is. Amma yujibu mutardat wa